Right, so folks, we're speaking to Nick from Gotthard. Welcome to Friday 13th. Hope you're having a nice day.
Ah, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah,
So,
all good.
I'm going to ask you some warm-up questions first, Nick, because this is the first interview I've done with you and Gotthard in general. As a musician, was vocals your first instrument? I see you've got guitars behind you. What came first?
No, actually, I started on the piano when I was about 8 years old, and they tried to put me through conservatory, but kind of, yeah, wasn't really for me. Um, Sorry, you there?
Yeah,
There we
yeah, I'm
go.
here.
No, so I just got a call or something. Yeah. So I kind of ended up. I quit the piano, and then my piano teacher said to my dad, "Well, actually, don't worry, he'll probably pick up the guitar in a few years or something," which I did. So then I was a guitarist. So I sort of started, I guess, when I was about 13 or something. I started playing guitar, and then yeah, vocals came quite a bit later, so about 16, 17 or something.
You speak very good English. Where are you from originally?
So I'm half Swiss and I'm from Melbourne as well. So half Swiss, half Australian. So my parents I'm actually from a Swiss family, but my parents migrated to Australia when I was like 2 years old or something. So I grew up there, but sort of also did a lot of back and forth. Would do a couple of years in Australia, a few years in Switzerland, a few years in Australia, kind of back and forth a lot. But kind of ultimately ended up spending a lot more time there, I guess.
Okay, then. So, who's your influences as a singer? Who's inspired you?
I mean, I grew up, AC/DC all the way. I mean, I was a full AC/DC, and then the whole sort of, Aussie pub rock thing. And yeah, that's really how how it got me started, really. So
What about guitarists? Who's inspired you as a guitarist? Obviously, you've been.
yeah, I mean that's what I used to, I used to sort of taught myself and would just kind of, had the record player and would just, try and figure out what chords they're playing. I mean, guess, a lot of people were doing that, I guess, as well. And I just sort of, yeah, just all the old AC/DC albums, and then kind of moved on to the Iron Maiden stuff, and Priest as well,
Yeah, my favorite
and that
band,
whole.
Priest.
Yeah, well, I mean, with that, it was my Priest, you mean?
Yeah, they're my favorite band of all time.
Yeah. I mean, I remember we got a hold of what was it? Defenders of the Faith. That was the first album we heard. We got a hold of that, and we were just like far out. We just completely freaked out on that, and then just back catalogued everything, and we were huge. So my brother and I we were really big Judas Priest fans as well. So, and
So
then
it's
yeah, and I used to and do the same thing with Priest. I'd just listen to the records and try and figure out what they were playing, and that's really how I learned. So big, huge fans of Glenn Tipton and KK Downing, obviously as well, and yeah, all these guys. I mean, we always trying to emulate those guys growing up.
so I guess the first song you learnt to play on guitar, because I started playing guitar when I was younger, was it must have been "Smoke on the Water." Must have been the first song you learnt to play because it's probably one of those easiest songs to learn, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. I think probably TNT would have been the first one I ever figured out how to play.
Right then. So, what band was you in prior to joining Gotthard? What was the very first band you was in that actually recorded anything?
I had, yeah, God, a lot of different bands. Had a band. I mean, I guess the first album I ever made was at the time I was living in Switzerland, a band called Clean Dirt, and that was kind of I guess hard rock kind of. I don't even know how to really describe it. And then in Australia later on, I had a band with my brother because I did a lot of music with my brother, and we've had a couple of bands over the years in Australia. So we had a band called Dry, was signed with Mushroom Records, and then later on BMG, and then we had after that fizzled out, we had a band called Maeder, actually, both of us, and which was signed with Warner Brothers, and yeah, sort of did that for a few years. but nothing ever really, broke through, I guess.
Wow,
And
interesting. So you've been with a lot of major labels then.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
But it's interesting because you need, uh, I guess, with a band, you need so many different cogs in the wheel. That everything has to align. All the all the stars have got to align so that it actually succeeds. But having a successful band is a very difficult thing. And being with a major label doesn't really uh, guarantee anything. In that sense. And yeah, it's you really need it. Everything has to be right. The timing has to be right. The music has to be right. The management has to be right. The band itself, I mean, has to be. And you got to be a great band live, and you got to, um, and then your label's got to believe in you. I mean, there's so many cogs in the wheel. But yeah, yeah.
So when you first auditioned for a Gotthard, what did you feel about joining the band when they asked you to audition? Was you nervous about auditioning? How did the process get? How did you process to get in the band? How did it work?
Well, it was kind of I was actually living in Australia at the time, and a friend of mine who's a musician here in Switzerland, he'd sort of called me up and said, "Listen, these guys are looking for a singer," and I only sort of knew the band from the kind of right at the beginning, like the first couple of albums in I guess mid 90s.
Right.
And then I'd moved to Australia, and I'd been there for 17 years. So I didn't follow I had no idea what they'd become actually, and they'd become really big, and I really had no idea. And my buddy suggested that he said he was actually he sort of said, well, why don't you audition for him? And at the time, it was just sort of recording a few, putting my voice on a few of their songs and sending that to them. And eventually, I came to Switzerland and just yeah, did an audition with them. But I mean, I had no real real. I mean, the whole process took like 8 months, because I went back to Australia, came back again, did some songwriting together, and went back to Australia again, and so it was quite a long process, and they had a lot of people to. I think they had like over 400 people or something, and there's a lot of people, and yeah, so I just sort of went in and thought, oh, it's a while ago now, but it's like 15 years ago now, but hard to believe actually. But yeah, just I thought it would be a good fit. I thought my voice, especially recording my voice on to their songs, I thought, yeah, sort of, I thought it sounded like it would fit, and yeah, I somehow got the job. So
It must have been really hard for you, Nick, to replace Steve Lee's. I mean, what a fantastic singer and the tragic of his death. I mean, you had a lot of pressure on you there, weren't you, doing the auditions? A lot of the auditioners would have been the same boots as you, like, my God, this is going to be a tough call.
well, I mean, the audition wasn't the difficult part. Um, I mean, of course, when you audition for these type of things, you really, I mean, you're under the microscope, because we did obviously some studio work as well, and a whole lot of stuff, and you're really, really under the microscope. But that wasn't really the pressure. I think the pressure was when I actually got the job. You know, that was the kind of all right.
Kind of proving to the fans that you could do the job after Steve's.
Yeah, and it was a weird thing because I mean in Switzerland the band is considered mainstream. It's really really big. And Steve Lee was very famous. I mean, the band was very very famous in Switzerland, and Steve Lee was very a very famous personality, and his death was heavily mediatized. And so when it came to his replacement in the band, I mean that was I mean I mean I was just on the news, magazines, newspapers, TV, I mean, it was just everywhere. It was a bit of a freak show actually. I kind of went yeah, I mean, I went from not being known at all to having all this kind of, where I couldn't walk down the street without someone sort of coming up to me. So it was really surreal. It was just like, whoa. It was and I did not expect that. I really
Yeah.
didn't expect. Um, and especially, if you think about the auditions and things, I was, um, yeah, when I was auditioning, I had no idea that that would happen. That if I got the job, that would happen, and so it was, yeah, and then yeah, then there was a lot of work to do. We had to. I mean, back those days. I mean, the first few years we were really working. Like, I mean, it was heavy work, and we really had to kind of prove that well, to sort of do the best that we can do with what we have now. And
Right.
uh, and we were super lucky that the fans, I mean, the fans really wanted the band to succeed, and they really wanted us to continue, and they were really so supportive. I mean, that I definitely never would have got through this stuff without them. I mean, they were just so supportive. We were really really lucky.
Yeah. I mean, when you look back to the previous albums, the ones before you joined the band, which is your favorite Gotthard album with Steve Lee on vocals?
I would say probably I'd say lip service. I'd say.
Yeah, is there a reason why?
No, just the songs. I yeah, really like the songs. Um, yeah, and we play a lot of those songs live actually as well. There's quite, there's quite a few that on that album. So, um, yeah, that's probably my favorite era
Right. I
of
mean, you
the
joined the band for the Firebirth album. That was your first big test
band.
with the band. How did you feel recording the album with being your debut with the band?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was cool. That we had Paul Lanny uh, on this one, and we really worked. I think it's a great album. I mean, we really we wanted we wanted something quite heavy, and uh, and we really worked the songs. And it was sort of, yeah, and we'd already written, like when during the audition I came to do some songwriting with the guys, and we already had 4 songs that we'd written together. So there was already a little chunk of the album there that was written, and yeah, and I mean, for me I had to kind of learn how to write with other people, because I was sort of used to, uh, you know, because I did a lot of music with my brother in the past, and we would always have our own songs, so I was more used to writing on my own, and that was a kind of learning learning curve for me, so I'd bring completely finished songs, and then the guys would start ripping the songs apart, and I'd be like, whoa, you know. So I had to kind of really get used to that. But yeah, and sort of, I think we've over the years we really found our way, and it works. It really works.
Right then. So the previous albums that you've done actually with the band since Firebirth, which is your favorite album, or the albums that you've recorded with the band up to the new one? Do you have a favorite?
It's hard to say. Um, I really like the new one, actually. You always like your latest album the best.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. And I really dig it. I really like this one, but I like the previous one as well. 13, I thought was really cool, and really liked the songwriting on that one. But it didn't get much of a chance because we released it. I think it was actually right as COVID hit. So we sort of a bit unlucky with that one. We couldn't tour it, and we were stuck for 2 years. So, but yeah, but even yeah, but Firebirth is a great album too. I really like that one, and probably Bang as well. So I'm gonna start naming all of them.
I mean, the last album, Stereo Crush, this is now more Stereo Crush. This is actually an EP, but it's got 8 songs. That's more like an album. Why do you class it as an EP?
Well, there's only like 5 new songs on it, right? The other
Okay.
the others are either rework things or bonuses. Actually, what we did, because Stereo Crush was supposed to be, we went in making that album and we thought, okay, we wanted to have a kind of a short, snappy album, like, let's do, really great songs. We didn't want to have an album with, too many songs on it.
Right.
And but of course we ended up writing a lot more, and I think we wrote something like 20 or more songs or something, but we recorded 17 of them, right? So here we are, we talking about making this kind of short, snappy album, and then in the end we'd had 17 songs recorded. Uh, and the record company, they actually suggested, they said, well, why don't we make an album, and then we'll do a continuation of it, we'll make an EP later. And it was kind of weird for us to do that. And we thought about it for a while, but then we thought, yeah, well, actually, the record company was really keen on that idea. And I think it's always good when the record companies have an idea and they're really motivated to do something. It's good to kind of go with that. And it sort of then it made it kind of a shorter album for the Stereo Crush, and then it was kind of the challenge to, okay, what are we gonna, where are we gonna put what songs, and to try and keep both things fairly balanced, and then we added on the EP now, on the more Stereo Crush, we added this Liverpool version with Mark Storace from Krokus,
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
and then this Mayday song, which is a bonus track. That's nothing to do with this production. Actually, this was something that we did a couple of years ago. It was like a charity for. It was like a Christmas song for the emergency services and stuff. So, but we never released a song. We had this song, we never released it. So we thought, hey, let's put it on there. But you got to think of more Stereo Crush as really, it's and Stereo Crush as it's kind of one, one
One
body of work.
family. One
Yeah,
family, you could say.
because it was all recorded and mixed at the same time together.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
the song Liverpool, is that to do with the Beatles? Is that the reason why you call it Liverpool?
Well, we are definitely Beatles fans. In fact, Leo Leone's favorite band is definitely the Beatles. No, it was actually because we wrote the song with Chris Von Orr from Krokus, and he wanted a song called Liverpool. Like, he was really like, oh, we got to have a song called Liverpool, and so that's how that came about.
Well,
Uh,
I actually live in Hull, so why didn't you call it Hull? Why Liverpool? I live on the northeast coast of England, the other side to Liverpool.
all right, yeah.
So yeah, but that's interesting. So, well, Mark, I mean, Krokus, like the biggest rock band from Switzerland out there, and you've got like bands like Chakra, which are very similar to you guys. You've got Crystal Ball, and on the other hand, you've got the heavier bands like Celtic Frost, Coroner.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the scene like in Switzerland now? Is it a really good scene for like rock and metal?
It's always been, as you just said, there's for such a small country, there's quite a few, quite a lot in the kind of hard rock uh, scene, and I don't know why, but uh, it's really cool.
So how did you hook up with Mark then? Is this something that you wanted to do for a long time from Krokus?
Well, we're very good friends with the Crocus guys, and we've got quite a bit of a history with them as well. So um, it was more. Well, we I mean also we'd done a lot of shows together, and we'd done also getting on stage together and singing with Mark. I've done that quite a few times, and this song was, well, when we first recorded it, because it was Chris from Crocus, and we'd suggested the idea, we talked about it a little bit, and we thought, yeah, maybe it'd be quite cool to do a duet with Mark Storace on it, but it never sort of didn't just didn't really happen, and then we finished the album. And so we sort of talked about it again and revisited the idea, and it was great. And Mark came in the studio, and he had some ideas some lyrical ideas, some melodic ideas and things. So we changed a few things here and there, and it was fun. So it's great. We've got it's a fairly different version now. So
It's
yeah, it's really cool.
interesting. I mean, the album was produced by Charlie. Is it Brunfield? How do you pronounce his last name?
Balfine.
Bainfeld. I mean,
Balfine.
he's worked with Saxon for so many years and Halloween. What was it
Yeah.
like working with him?
No, he's great. Look, he's fantastic. We've done a lot of stuff with him. I mean, already back in the second album I did, the Bang album, we already had him there. So since then we've done a lot of, and then we did the next one as well. We did Silver album with him as well, and the live album, the Defrosted 2 album as well. And we'd been doing a lot of work with him for
Yeah.
quite some years, really. And yeah, it was great to get him back on this one. Yeah, no, it works really well with him, and he's great. He's really good with drum stuff as well. Like
Yeah, I
we'll
noticed
spend.
with Saxon, he always gets a really solid sound with those guys when it comes to the sound of the drums.
Yeah, I mean I mean he'll we'll spend quite a bit of time working on drum parts and working out drum parts, and he's very involved in that as well, because he's actually a drummer himself.
Ah,
So
that's why all his drums sound great on
yeah,
every
yeah,
album.
yeah. No,
Isn't
he's very, very drum.
So all the guitarists shit out and get a really shit sound while the drums are all up in the mix. All right then. So what's your favorite songs from the new EP then? Do you have any favorite ones?
um, let me think. Not really. Uh, no, they're all quite cool. Uh, I mean the right now, the first song on the EP. The interesting thing about that one was that I it's a song I've had that song for about 30 years or something, or
Okay.
25. I think about 25 years. I was trying to figure it out the other day, and the opening riff in that song actually used to be a sitar.
Okay.
And then we of course I showed the song to the guys, and we thought, yeah, let's rework this one, and let's turn that into a Gotthard song, and it turned out really, really, really cool. I'm quite happy with the way that turned out. Snafu, I quite like.
Yeah, what does that actually mean?
I mean, situation normal, all fucked up.
Okay, thank you.
It's a soldier. It was the U.S. soldiers that came up with that in Second World War, basically.
Right. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and no, it's kind of a uh, let's go. It's untypical Gotthard song, that one, I'd say.
Right.
So no, I really quite like it. Yeah.
So has the EP been receiving good reviews? I've actually reviewed it last week. I'll send you the link so you can check it out. What sort of
Oh, cool.
reviews have you been getting so
I
far?
have not checked out any reviews at all.
So I might be the first tonight then when I send you the
I'm
link.
gonna be, yeah, exactly. You'll be the first one I'm going to read. Yeah. Yeah.
So have you got any new songs wrote for the next record? I presume you are, because like you said, these are a lot of songs that you had recorded a couple of years ago.
Um, no, that's it. I think we're all everything's out. We don't really there's there's nothing left. We're gonna have to, whatever we do next, we're gonna have to start from scratch.
Right. So you're doing some live shows this year. Is it festivals you're playing? I noticed.
Mainly, yeah.
Yeah.
Mainly festivals. We've got stuff. Where are we? Let me just check. We have.
I know you've got some in Germany. I've been looking at your dates and
Yeah, we've got Czech Republic, Spain, Sweden, Bulgaria, Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. Yeah, quite a few in Switzerland.
no English dates. Are you doing any plans to come to the UK?
No, we used to do that. Not at the what was that called?
Firefest. Is it Firefest?
Firefest. No, yeah, that was fantastic. But yeah, we used to, yeah, that was a great one to do. I think, yeah, there you go.
So
But is
no,
still doing that one, or is that I
I'm
heard?
not sure to be honest with you. There's one now called Stone Dead Festival, and obviously Bloodstock. Then you've got Download.
Yeah, yeah.
So are you actually planning on coming to the UK, doing any shows over here? Have you been talking about that?
Not. I don't think it's going to happen this year, but I would love to. Yeah, yeah. It's been a while since we played in the UK. Yeah, yeah. Absolutely, I'd really love to. Yeah.
Right, Nick, I want to thank you for doing this interview. I wish you all the best with the sales in the future. Do you have anything to say to the people watching this on YouTube?
Um, hey, if you're a fan, thanks for your support. That's all I can say. Yeah, enjoy it. Hope you enjoy it.
Brilliant. Thank you, Nick. But keep in touch and I'll send you
That's
the
all right.
link for both the interview and review.
No
Thank
worries.
you, Nick. Take
Thanks,
care of
man.
yourself. Thank
Later.
you. Greetings. Thank you for watching the interview with Nick from the band Gotthard. I want to thank Nick for doing the interview. I also want to thank Mona for setting up the interview. So, folks, please leave comments. Please share this interview. I hope you enjoyed it. There's more great interviews coming very soon in 2026. Thanks for watching.